Welcome to a 20-minute healing hatha class with a focus on unblocking the throat chakra. We will end the practice with some affirmations that encourage sharing your voice and expressing your truth. Let's meet in child's pose. All right, so we're starting in child's pose. And if you have 2 blocks or even 1 block, maybe bring that along to support the practice. You could go knees wide. You could bring your knees a little bit closer together. Extend your arms forward, but let the forearms soften down. You might even want to reach your arms back behind you. So you can play around with that and see what works for your shoulders today. And let's just start with a few breaths. Think about lengthening through your inhales and lengthen your exhales. And on your exhales, you can let your belly drop down. So today we're working on unblocking or clearing the throat chakra and tapping into the expression of our truth. So you might want to tune into that here for the next few moments and maybe set an intention. What is it that you wish to express? Okay, starting to stretch your fingers forward now, so a little bit more energy through your arms. Spread the fingers really wide and plug into your finger pads and your knuckles. Pull yourself forward into a tabletop and then set yourself up so that your knees come underneath your hips. So you could tuck your toes or you could extend the toes back behind you. Take whatever fits. We're going to move into puppy pose. So this is a puppy stretch. We'll walk the hands forward, keeping the hips relatively in line over top of the knees. And then you'll lengthen your heart space forward. So you could drop your forehead down again. You might want to lengthen the chin forward. Take what feels comfortable, and so that you feel this stretch along the back body and along the front body. So you'll notice that if you look forward and kind of bring your chin forward, you'll definitely get a stretch into the throat. You could also bring a block underneath your chest here for the last few breaths if that feels more accessible and brings the floor a little bit closer to you. Let's stay for one more full breath cycle. And start to walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. We'll meet again in table. And then we'll move through a few rounds of cat and cow, but we're going to kind of switch up the breath from what you might be used to. So on your inhale, press into your palms and around your spine, tuck your chin and your tail. On your exhale, let your belly drop and stick out your tongue, breathe through your mouth. Lion's breath. So on your inhale, press into your palms, round your spine, draw chin towards your chest and tuck your tail. Exhale into your cow spine, let it go through your mouth, stick out your tongue. Do a few more like that. Inhale. Lion's breath as you exhale. One more time. Inhale. Press the mat away from you. Draw your belly in. Exhale. Lion's breath. Good. Come back to a neutral position. Tuck your toes if they're not already there. And take a breath in. And exhale, send your hips up high, downward facing dog. I always like to invite a little bit of movement into the first downward facing dog of the practice. So feel free to pedal out your heels. Feel free to wiggle your hips around a little bit. Notice how the backs of the legs are feeling in this moment. And then find some stillness. Plug into your finger pads, into your knuckles. See if that takes a little bit of weight out of the wrists. So child's pose, always an option. Downward facing dog, always an option. This is your time. This is your practice. So make it yours. And take any modifications that you might need. Take rest or water when you need. Looking towards the top of your mat, come up onto your toes, and let's start with a whole bunch of little steps to get to the top of the mat in a forward fold. Feet could stay hip width distance. You might bring your big toes together to touch. Taking what fits your low back today. Maybe a gentle sigh. All right. Start to bend into your knees a little bit more and then roll yourself up. You might even bring your hands onto the tops of your thighs. Come to stand tall in mountain pose Tadasana. Again, your feet might stay a little bit apart. Maybe you bring them a little bit closer together. Pull your palms together in front of your heart center. Maybe soften your gaze down. Or if it feels safe, you can close your eyes and maybe call that intention back into your mind. What is something you wish to share, something you wish to express? How can you nourish that through your practice today? Take a full breath in, press your palms together. And on your exhale, release your palms down and flutter your eyelids open. Have a great practice. Take a breath in, reach your arms up, grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand, and on your exhale, come up and over towards your right side for crescent moon. So breathing into the front of the chest and into the side of your left rib cage, or the left side of your rib cage rather. Plug into the outer edge of your left foot and then use that as a bit of traction to kind of dive a little bit deeper into that side stretch. Soft shoulders. Let's come back up through center, switch sides, breathe in. So grab hold of the right wrist. Exhale up and over towards your left side. So starting the practice with some side bending is a really nice way to kind of open up through the rib cage, creating some space for deeper breaths, opening up through the sides of the lungs, just warming up into the spine a little bit more as well. Soft through the shoulders. And your next breath in, bring yourself up back through center, release your palms, separate them. And on your exhale, find Utkatasana, powerful pose. Send your hips way back behind you like you're sitting into a chair. And I always like to offer different variations for arms in Utkatasana. So taking what fits for your shoulder joints today, they might come up, they might even sweep back and down behind you. And then when it comes to your legs, whether your feet are together or apart, feel like you're kind of ripping your mat apart. And at the same time, you're energetically drawing your inner thighs closer together. Good. I'm feeling that fire through the legs, maybe sitting a little bit lower. One more breath. Inhale, press into your feet, rise up, reach up.
Exhale, find your hands on your low back. So like you're kind of sticking your hands into your back pockets. Again, feet together or hip width distance, moving into a gentle back bend. Take a breath in. On your exhale, squeeze your glutes gently and start to trace your gaze up and then back, opening the front of your chest, opening the front of your heart space. A gentle engagement of the glutes will support the low back here. You might even find gently pressing the hips forward helps to support. Full breaths, opening through the throat. Next breath in, bring your gaze forward. Exhale, let's release the palms down. Breathe in, look up, reach up. Exhale to fold forward over your legs. Halfway lift on your inhale, hands on shins, or maybe you use your blocks. Exhale to fold, plant your palms, step back and find a high plank. So as always, your knees could be up, your knees could be down in this plank. Feel like you're pushing your mat away from you, strong legs and glutes. Extend through the crown of your head, feel that fire through your belly, breathe in. On your exhale, tap your knees down and lower your belly, lower your chest and your chin all the way to the floor. Extend your toes back behind you now. Press into the tops of your feet. Inhale to baby cobra. Drop your shoulder blades back and down towards your hips. Exhale to lower. Do that again. Inhale, baby cobra. Pause for your exhale. Start to float your palms off of your mat. And then maybe extend your arms back behind you. And keeping your gaze gently forward and down so that the back of your neck stays long. The final option to add on here is to lift your toes, your knees, your thighs. Full locust pose. One more big breath in. Exhale, lower down. Plant your palms underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Press into your table on an inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. And draw your navel in and send your hips high. And start to walk your hands towards the back of your mat, bringing your fingertips towards your toes. And then let's bend into the knees and roll up. Once again, you might draw your palms to the tops of your thighs to support. Tadasana, mountain pose. Hopefully feeling a little bit more open through the front body. We're going to move into a balancing shape, Vrikshasana tree pose. So I'll rotate towards you. Today we're going to try a mudra. This is called Vishuddha Mudra. And it's used to help clear the throat chakra. So you'll take your fingers and interlace them so that the fingertips come to the insides of your palms. Take your thumbs together and allow this mudra to settle on the navel. And let's start by plugging into the right leg. And then you'll bend the left knee forward and turn it out to the side. And you could bring your foot anywhere along the inner line of your right leg. That might mean toes on the floor. That might mean kind of using your hand to pull that foot to the inside of the thigh. And then find your mudra again. Maybe calling to mind that truth, that expression of your truth. long through the front of your chest, open through your heart, open through your throat. We plug into that supporting leg. Beautiful. Let's slowly begin to release. And then we'll try the second side. So plug into your left leg, bend your right knee forward. Turn it out to the side. It might feel totally different on this side. You might want to keep your toes on the floor, or maybe you invite your block underneath that foot. Maybe you slide the right foot up a little bit higher along the inner thigh. And then find Vishuddha Mudra once again. Thumbs pressing together and fingertips rest on the inside of your palms. See if you can get a little bit taller through the outer edge of your left hip. Long breaths. Cultivating focus, stability. Calling in that truth. Okay, slowly release. Find Tadasana at the back of your mat. Moving down to the floor, inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale to fold forward. Lift halfway, inhale. And exhale to fold, crawl your hands out, find your downward facing dog. And then tap your knees down to your mat and come to sit on your heels. So we'll move into one more stretch for the front of the body. This is Supta Virasana, Sleeping Hero. So I like to set this up with 2 blocks, one underneath my spine and then one underneath my head. Another option for this stretch is to come onto one side and kick the top heel towards your glute. That'll still give you a long stretch along the front body and the quads. If you have the space and it's accessible to you, bring your hands behind you. Maybe just lift the gaze slightly. You'll still get a nice long stretch along the hips and quads, where you can start to walk your hands back, coming onto your forearms, letting your spine settle onto that first block. Then maybe bringing your head to rest on the second block. Just allow yourself to settle here for a few breaths. Maybe softening your gaze or closing your eyes. If at any point you feel any pinching or pulling through the knee joints, please back off and maybe come onto your side. If you have chosen to do that quad stretch on one side, flip over to the other side now so you feel even. This just allows for a nice stretch through the front body. If you have like a lot of space, a lot of flexibility through the front of the body, and you don't really need the blocks, you could also get rid of those and come all the way down onto shoulders. Let's stay for 2 more breaths. Wherever you are, begin to bring yourself up out of this shape the same way that you came into it. So if you came down onto your back, pressing up through forearms, pressing up through your palms. And then you can just swing yourself around. We're going to come to meet in a seated position. I like to elevate my hips with a block, but take whatever comfortable position works for you. And then we'll close with a few affirmations, once again, to tune into the throat chakra. And let's take Vishuddha Mudra one more time. So interlacing the fingers to the inside of your palms, thumbs together, and then let the mudra rest in front of your navel. You might soften your gaze down or close your eyes. Ground down through your sitting bones. And you can just repeat these affirmations to yourself. I am expressive. I communicate my truth. I speak with clarity. And take a big breath in and a soothing breath out. I thank you so much for allowing me to practice with you today and to guide you through this practice. I hope that you can move through the rest of your day feeling free to express yourself and to share your truth. Thank you so much.